good morning, and good morning. How are you doing? What's going on in your life? What has happened since I last saw you or you seen me? Um, I tell you, I made up in my mind that I was going to talk about cancer today. So, I've been up, going through some stats and looking at how I break down this word. Um, I can tell you that there are many people in this world that are living after cancer. So, cancer at one time used to be a death notice. Everyone knew that if they got cancer, it probably meant that it would metastasize and ultimately, the good cells would be destroyed. But there's been a lot of progress made in the cancer research areas. So, I decided this morning that I was going to give you just an idea of how invasive and obtrusive cancer is. It's very, very serious. Um, I can tell you that I am a survivor, of cancer. Good morning, Erica. How are you doing? It's always wonderful to see you in the space. Um, I am a survivor, and if it were not for the fact that I kept going back to the doctor, I think I would have been a death statistic, only because they said, "Oh, you're at the end of, you're getting ready to start. You're going through menopause, okay?" And I had perimenopause, and then I had menopause, and through perimenopause, I was even experiencing things. But they kept saying, "There's just nothing wrong with you. You're going to be all right." But my persistence. Later on, the doctor told me that I had stage 2 cancer, and that had I not been persistent and kept going back, that I probably would eventually have, stage 3, stage 4, and, possibility of not being able to eradicate the cancer from my body. But it's been now, let's see, 11. So it's been 12 years. It was in 2011 when I was first diagnosed. And I remember being um, absolutely shocked, absolutely just spellbound, couldn't move. I ended up having come home. I came home. Good morning, Rhoda. How are you doing, sweetie? So cancer is tough. It really is. If you've experienced it yourself or as a family member or friend, you know how disruptive it is to your life. I recall once I got the call, and I never am home on Saturdays. I always have something to do. But this particular day, I was home, and the phone rang, and it was, my doctor, and he said, I never call anybody on Saturdays, but I did your biopsy on Thursday, and he said I just felt that once I was able to see the biopsy, I didn't even have to wait till I received the actual results from the test. I already knew it was, and that said to me that I thought the same thing. I said that doesn't look right. Because he let me see what the biopsy, because I was nosy, and so he let me see what it looked like, and eventually he said, "Well, it's a Saturday. I have to come. Yeah, I need you to come in on Mondays because I'm going to make your referral to an oncologist." And that was my journey. That's how my journey began. So if something is given to you on the weekend, and then you have another 3, 4, 5 days to ferment in your fear, anxiety sets in. So I called some of my prayer warriors, and they were there to support me when I went to the altar for prayer that Sunday, and just trying to get myself together on having a plan, knowing what I wanted to do, because, for me, it was, what they said for me, it was nothing short of an operation. I had to have a hysterectomy. So that's what I had. But for others, it may be one of, hysterectomy and then various other forms of therapeutic medical procedures after that, radiation, chemotherapy, all the other things that might come along. But here's some stats to just kind of give you where cancers are in men and women. For male, breast cancer, 2,800. This is just what has been approximated for 2023, but this is the average in U.S. in the U.S. history of cancers, what happens. So I don't know, if you heard the news that Richard Roundtree died. Well, Richard Roundtree died from prostate cancer, which is a second cancer, but his initial cancer was breast cancer. I found that out this morning when I was doing my research. I just was reading, and it said that that's his initial diagnosis was breast cancer, and he had a double mastectomy. Wow, double. So it just lets you know that cancers are just looming. It may be our food, it may be our environment, it may be our stresses. We don't even know all that is entailed in the process of getting cancer. But then they have prostate cancer being 288,300. It jumps seriously up from where it talks about breast, and then it's lung cancer, which is the third, and that is lung and bronchus cancer, 117,550. Colorectal cancer, 81,860. Melanoma of the skin, 58,120. This is all for male. Urinary bladder cancer, 62,420. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, 44,880. And then they also have leukemia, 35,670, pancreatic cancers, 33,130, and thyroid cancers. All this is in male, 12,540. When you think about your body, it is just so vulnerable, but we don't know. We don't know. Maybe something, as I said, in our water, in our food, in our environment, in our homes, the land that we're living on, whatever. In female, breast cancer is the number one cancer, 297,790. Prostate cancers. Prostate cancers and is what I said before, 288,300. Prostate cancer for women, nothing. I'm sorry. Lung and bronchus cancers, 120,790. Colorectal cancer, 71,160. Melanoma of the skin, which is, you don't even know where that comes from. Is it something that we washed our clothes in? Is it going into the sun? What is it? 39,490. Urinary bladder cancers, 19,870. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, 35,670. Kidney and renal pelvis cancers, 29,440. Corpus and uterus cancers, 566,200. I think that's 66,000, 66,200. Leukemia, 23,940. Pancreatic cancers, 30,920. And thyroid cancer, 31,180. All these facts came from the American Cancer Society out of Atlanta. And these figures are current of 2023. We are vulnerable. we are vulnerable. We don't even know what causes us to be vulnerable, but we are. We try to do our best on trying to pick the best things to eat, but who's to say the best things to drink? The best places to live. Scary. It is really, really scary. But I know for myself, I've tried to change my diet. In fact, I had the cancer in 11, and I ended up doing the the bariatric surgery in 13, only because I needed to get a new way forward on how I was going to live, with dealing with food and understanding the fact that my family had a history of cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, all those things. I'm trying to, let me put it nicely, outrun as best I can the things, or at least put myself in a position where I am not as vulnerable to these things, and that basically are out there. We just don't know. We don't know how any of us become ill, but it's unknown etiologies. We do not know. So this morning, my word is cancer. I didn't, even though I'm dressed in pink, and my sister died of breast cancer in 2012. My other sister, my sister that was closest in age to me, which was 6 years, she died of lung cancer. So, and my aunt was lung and breast cancer. And it actually metastasized. So I believe it began as breast cancer. So I know the vulnerability of it. I just had my mammogram, so I tell young people, regardless of your age, if you see something that is wrong, touch your body enough, and if something's wrong, go check it out. Go check it out, because they're seeing that breast cancer is actually attacking young women in their 30s. Not, at one time you didn't have to take, breast exams until you were over 40. But they're changing it, because they're realizing that there may be people that they have a history, generational history in their family, that just says there's a gene that's prominent in that family lineage that's making them vulnerable to being basically a one that is afflicted with breast cancer. But it could be any cancers. But anyway, what is cancer? What is cancer? I don't know if you know someone that's been affected by cancer, either yourself or others. Just put yes, I know cancer in the thread. But cancer, it says, is a disease caused by uncontrolled division of abnormal cells in a part of the body. And basically, it's a carcinoma, it's a sarcomas, it's leukemia, it's lymphoma. Those are the 4 types of cancers. Interesting, isn't it? 4 types. We always think that cancer is cancer, but cancer is basically this disease that can destroy a person from being able to do the simplest of things, just because even some of the treatments are so horrific that people go through, that they're even more sickened by the procedures to catch the cancers. Yes, my mom and dad passed from cancer. Wow, Gloria. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I just think this is a subject that we need to certainly give out, only because and discuss, because some of us do not go to the doctors quickly enough. We don't. By the time we present, the cancer has metastasized, putting us more at risk of losing our lives to it. So here's my breakdown, and that's why I wanted to do it this morning. My C in cancer I have for chemotherapy, and several other people that I've known. My sister, who had breast cancer, refused to take any treatments. So she said once she knew, and she was a nurse, she was a highly sought after nurse, trained other nurses and doctors in specialized areas in California. But when I asked her, because I went to California and spent some time with her before she passed, one of the things she said, good morning, Debbie. Good morning, good morning. Chaotic. One of the things that she said is that because she saw the damage that was done to the individuals going through the chemotherapy and the radiation and how much they suffered, she said she couldn't handle it. She said she watched it too much for her to take it on herself. So, you never know what will motivate people or discourage people, motivate them to go forward, or discourage them from actually acting on it to make it a corrective action if they feel that they can't do it. Consistent breast checks, yes, absolutely, that's important. Going, I hate going being squeezed like that, I gotta tell you that. But I went probably a little over a month ago, and it came back that I'm fine. So, having been a cancer survivor from another female cancer, my doctor told me those cancers are related. There's a mutation within our family gene that just says that we are carrying something. So we have to check. We have to check ourselves out and make sure that we are okay. So I wrote down chemotherapy for my first C in cancer. And I said it's the treatment of disease by use of chemical substances, especially the treatment of cancer by cytotoxic or other drugs. It says, but when you break the word down, it continues to talk about it being cancer being the bomber, the spoiler, the annihilator, the exterminator, the demolisher, the wrecker, the assassin, and the executor. So really and truthfully, you understand that it's war once these chemicals are put in the body. It's a way to try to aggressively address something that's in your body that shouldn't be there, and that could become more aggressive and destroy other cells. The thing about chemotherapy, when I remember talking with my doctor, he says, well, it destroys the good cells along with the bad cells. So it takes a while for it to get down to the point where somebody can ring that bell. And I was watching something the other day, I think it was yesterday morning, where a young man who had, cancer, and he was considered to be done with all of his treatments, and he was cancer free, and he got to ring the bell, and I was ringing the bell with him. I was just excited for him because he was emotional about it, and his family was there to support him. So you can imagine that this thing called chemotherapy and cancer, CC, is tough. It's tough on the body. It's tough on the families. It's tough on probably one's psyche, one's ability to believe that they're going to get better. But that's when you really need somebody to get in there and say, but, making them laugh, trying to get them to fold into their sense of humor, because they said humor is one of those things that works when people are really, really ill. And I used to be a discharge planner assistant at the Naval Hospital, and I would go in with a joke. I would, give them something that was really funny, and they would laugh with me. And after a while, they got to be looking for me. They said, well, when is that Sandy coming in here? When's she going to come? So it has its place. Humor certainly can add something. When I move further on in the world, my A is for affliction, because people that have cancer have been afflicted. And it says that because it does cause pain and suffering, which is an affliction. It is a disorder a disease, a malady. It may be what starts with a complaint. Hey, I don't feel good. Something's hurting me. I got great pain, those kinds of things. It says an affliction is also an ailment, an indisposition, an illness, and the plague. Disease has a tendency to come and have that ability to transfer to others. And so, you might be afflicted, even with simple things as the flu, common things. So it's never going to be where we're germ free. It's never going to be that we're not potentially in a position of being exposed to something. But we have to do our best to try to counteract with vitamins and eating, nutritional foods that are sound for the body, And one of the things I did, now I do admit that I've gone back to having sugar, but sugar is like an enemy to cancer. Well, I guess it would be an ally. I don't know, but anyway, it basically will feed off of that kind of thing. So it's just one of those things. Awareness, yeah, awareness is good. Thank you, Debbie. But to me, I do believe that we need to be aware of how we feel, and if something's wrong, go to the doctor. That's to me your own medical attention 101. Go on to the doctor, find out what's wrong, and sometimes it may be a while before they find it out, because sometimes you're not feeling well comes before they're able to find anything. Keep going back. My N, when I move further in my word, is for neoplasm. And neoplasm, which starts with an N, is an abnormal mass or tissue. Basically, a lot of cancers start with tumors. It could be a tumor or a lump, a cyst, a growth, a malignancy, a polyp, an outgrowth, or a tubercle. So when you look at these words, we probably heard, those things like a cyst, or, even sometimes boils may be an indication that something is wrong further than just the boil, but it may come out as an erosion of a boil. But they look at this as being, maybe ground zero in the body, that it started there and it's moving elsewhere if it's not contained and certainly able to be treated. A lot of times they will treat with the chemotherapy and then follow up with radiation to make sure they shrink and then kill off the possibilities of them coming back. Those work. Sometimes operations start and then they move on to other things. When I move further on in the word, it talks about a canker. And this is a verb. And it says to corrupt, destroy, slowly destroy. And, that's what cancer does. It slowly destroys portions of the body. And so we have to be in a position to say, okay, what do I need to do? Even talking to doctors when you get in there. I tell people that have, had to go to a doctor about a follow-up from getting a cancer diagnosis is write your notes, dig well into your fear, what level am I? What are the best procedures? What are the alternative procedures, if there are any? How long will I be down? Do I need to be off work for a lengthy period of time? Ask your fears so that you'll get answers immediately, So I certainly would look at that. But it says when we move this word canker, it says is to corrupt, destroy slowly. And the other words for that would be it's blight, it's corrosion, it's scourge, it's bane, it's blister, it's boil, and the fact that it is a cancer. that's what a canker starts at. And, you know, sometimes the canker may not even show right away. It may erupt or erode from underneath before it's actually visible on top. So real scary, you know, real scary. You just don't even know. Contamination, yes. Yes, Debbie, that's really good. Because sometimes we don't even know how we are contaminated, you know. And I don't think we should really be so fearful that we can't tell our doctor where we're at. Hey, I'm scared of this. I don't know which way to turn. You know, for me, I turned to prayer. You know, I prayed it up. You know, because I knew it wasn't anything that I physically could change of what is. You know, you can't change what is, but you can certainly put yourself in a position where they lead you to an alternative solution. And sometimes the solutions are pretty tough on the body just to get through them, especially when you're dealing with cancer. Okay. Um, let's see. My E for cancer, in the E, the last E before the R, says examination. How many of us are willing to go to the doctor and be examined when something is wrong? You know, sometimes people don't go. They don't. I had a friend that ended up, her husband had, I think it was prostate cancer, prostate cancer. And he didn't go. He just thought everything was okay. Well, yeah, I'm having a little bit of trouble urinating or whatever, but he didn't think anything more about it. Well, she buried him. She buried him because a lot of times men are known statistically not to always go to the doctor. So if you're fortunate enough to have a man, take care of them. Okay, if they won't go, you take them. Okay, you take them. Get them there. Get them there to be checked out. Okay, so that they've had this examination, and it says an examination is a detailed inspection or investigation. It's scrutiny. It's a perusal. It's a checkup. It's a scanning. It's analysis. It's an appraisal of what's going on. It's tests that's being done, and then it's sometimes even the scans that they have to do. I thought initially when I went in for after my diagnosis of cancer, I thought I was going to fall apart from all the procedures, but I made it through. You know, they did everything, ultrasounds and invasive procedures, some of everything, you know. So the fact that I'm seeing and I'm hearing and I'm doing, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I don't say I'm lucky. I say I'm blessed because I know what the alternative could have been, death. And so I suggest that if you have a man, take him to the doctor, go with him, find out what's really going on. And if you have other family members, a mother, a sister, a brother, a child, you see something wrong, take them in, even if they don't want to go. You know, I'd rather let them be mad at me and living than I'm mad at myself and they're gone. Okay, so do your part. Do your part. And yes, a cure would be good. That's a great word for canker. So after examination, the one thing, and I made sure I covered both of these, the chemo and the radiation. Generally, radiation is which is the R of my word, it's an electromagnetic waves, or as a moving subatomic particles, especially high energy particles that cause ionization. And basically it's like the warfare is coming in to get it. Okay, whatever's left, it's going to annihilate it. That's what it's attempting to do. So it's the emission, the broadcast, the diffraction. It's also the dispersion, the diffusion, the distribution, and the divergence. All of that just to say we got to get rid of what of any remnants of what this cancer had started to do to this person's body, giving them time. And and it takes time, because people lose their hair, they lose their appetite, they lose weight, they lose a lot of things during the process of between chemo and radiation. So what I'm saying is that it's a tough road. It is a very, very tough road. you know, I went up the road and I didn't have to have the chemo or radiation because mine was contained. And the actual medical surgery, the surgery took it took out everything that needed to go. So, that's our lives. We have to be proactive to make sure that we're not having to be reactive later. um, my proaction just made it where I was led to the doctors that eventually were able to discover my cancer. Other people may go down by just it just happens. By the time they go, it's too late. So if you're feeling bad, go, 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 go. Let people know. So in honor of Breast Cancer Month, we I know our church has always done. We usually do raising for the community, that the money stays in the community. But this year we didn't do it because we're still trying to reacquaint ourselves, getting back in our church because we had some renovations done. But next year we hope to do that again. So if I am here and the Lord says I can, then I will try to work on that project again. But I believe in helping others. I believe there's a need for us to do what we do in any way possible. So today it was cancer. I don't know what it'll be on Friday, but Friday I will come with another area of discussion. But I just want us to look at taking care of ourselves the best way we can. That we look at the fact that cancer can, certainly cause havoc to the individual that has it and to any family members or support in terms of friendships. But, we need to look at the fact that if they need chemotherapy, it may be a tough way to go, but they may have to take it. They look at it this as an affliction, that it is an abnormal mass someplace within the body as a neoplasm, that it may have started as a small canker, which was basically a corrosion in the body, that an examination is the only way to determine how you go forward. And lastly, that, to end all of what was started with all of this, the cancer, is that they may require radiation to basically eradicate anything left in terms of the remnants of what the cancer brought with it when it came and entered their body. But anyway, that's my area of discussion today. I love you guys. I appreciate you hanging in there with me and coming to my blogs. If you don't do anything else, hit share. You don't have to you don't even have to rate it. Just hit share, because the information is good, and it is cited in the American Cancer Society. So I didn't make it up. The only thing I made up is how I would address that word cancer. I did do that. But I love you, appreciate you, and hope you will have a wonderful day. And if you know somebody that needs to go and get checked out, go with them. Or maybe it's you. I love you. Appreciate you. I'll see you on Friday. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.